Hey there. Me and Thor are just chilling out on a Friday night. I'm doing the first part of this video because I've got to be up at stupid o'clock tomorrow to drive to Gloucester for the What's Your Game kit fair. Now, not looking in particular to get anything, but you know, that's famous last words, isn't it? But hopefully just see what people have got on offer and maybe bump into a few friends down there. So with that, Thor and I can bid you a very good night, and I'll see you tomorrow. I don't know about him, he'll probably be asleep somewhere. Alright, see you soon. Right, so I'm back from What's Your Game, and start with an explanation of what exactly What's Your Game is. It's a market for people who are involved in LARP. LARP stands for live action role playing. It's been around for quite a while and it's becoming more and more popular. So when you get into LARP, obviously, unless you're doing a contemporary LARP, you're going to need things to outfit you, and it's what markets like these excel at. It's a chance to actually see the costumes, the armour and the weapons in person rather than buying over the internet, because obviously there's not many sort of like physical locations. There are some, but it's a lot better to go to a market and have a lot of those all in one place. So you get a lot of, well, I've got the big beard, I might as well use the hipster word, artisan craftsmen there, and you get a lot of people who are selling stuff from the larger manufacturers. So you can get pretty much anything you want there. So obviously what most people think of is the armour and the weapons, and yeah, they're there, but it's like, I find it's the smaller items that really set things apart. It's like you can take two people in exactly the same sort of like generic tunic, trousers, or weapon and a shield, but it's what those two individuals choose to accent it. So just sort of like little things like your jewellery, your prosthetics or what have you, is what really sets that apart. So I'm going to start throwing up pictures which are probably a lot better to look at than my hairy face. And so I'll talk about some of the stuff that's available. There's obviously a lot of traders that are selling armour and weapons, and so for those of you who are new to what LARP actually is, if you're doing a LARP that involves combat, you're probably going to end up using a weapon, and they're not, I don't like to use the word safe, it's safer. At its core, a live action role playing weapon is a rigid former which is usually made out of fiberglass or out of carbon fibre in the middle, which can vary in size and construction. It can be like a small or cylindrical thing, like maybe as thick as a pencil for some weapons. It could be a bar or it could be a tube, but it's a solid former, and over that there's a high density foam, which most people would recognise as the same sort of foam that they'd find in maybe a yoga mat or a camping mattress. And then that is normally coated with latex, which has been pigmented, so that's what gives it the look and makes it look more realistic. And then over that is usually another protective coat of a really horribly toxic substance called Isoflex, which is why most people will prefer to buy something that's made by a professional manufacturer, so they don't have to deal with this, because the safety data sheet on something like Isoflex is as long as your arm. It's really absolutely horrible. So that deals with the weapons, and then the other thing that's most associated is armour. So padded cloth, leather, chain, plate armour, and obviously there's a lot of that there this weekend, and sort of like stretching the whole thing from sort of like the mass-produced plate that's bought in out of China, India, Pakistan, and distributed, which tends to be sort of like, yeah, it's a kind of a cookie cutter thing. It's like you know what you're getting, right up to really beautiful bespoke pieces of leather and metal armour with sort of like intricate designs on them, and there was quite a lot of pretty much every kind there. But as I say, the stuff that I'm going to get into now is the really kind of atmospheric stuff that makes it. So I mean, I'll mention a couple of things in particular, such as there's a blacksmith working outside of the venue, and he got these really lovely sort of like Norse rune stones, but they'd had the runes chiselled into the metal, and you could thong them and wear them as a necklace. So I thought they were really good. There's also someone else who's been working particularly with Empire, who's been doing some resin pendants or badges of all of the different armies of the Empire and all of the virtues from the Empire religious system, and they're just, again, some of these little things that really make a character individual. So $64,000 question. I said at the beginning of the video that I wasn't going there intending to buy anything, and I said famous last words, and I was right. I did end up purchasing something, but wasn't really LARP orientated. It was more tabletop orientated, which I picked up from a company called the Thornless Rose, which I've got just over here, and it's a really beautiful resin cast D20, which has got red and blue filaments running throughout it, and I'll link a slightly better picture of it where it's properly lit up and bring that up. But obviously I'm a real dice hoarder, so I got that. The only other thing that I really picked up was a bottle of mead for a friend of mine, because it was named after his cat. It's like you've seen earlier in this video and some others that I have a cat called Thor. Well, my friend Chris has a cat called Loki, and I managed to find some mead called Loki's Tears, so really had to get that for him. So I'll just finish up with a slideshow of all of the beautiful things that were on display, and again, thanks to the team at What's Your Game for putting this one on, and thanks to all of the traders that came out, and I'll do the slideshow pictures, and then we'll go on to what I did after. Alright, so later. Right, so on to what happened after the end of the What's Your Game Kit fair. One of the reasons that I went all the way across over to Gloucester was my friend Alex has got a couple of horses and he's joined an equestrian reenactment group. So what he wanted to do was to try to acclimatise his horses to, the weird sort of like sounds and things that happen as part of a reenactment group. Because obviously horses, in my experience, can be quite flighty creatures and can get spooked quite easily. So he wants to acclimatise them to noises and stuff. And I said to him, well, I've got a set of aluminium articulated arm and leg armour that my late friend and mentor Roger Langford made up for me. And I said, so they're going to make clicky clanky noises as you move, but they're aluminium, so it's not going to be putting a huge amount of weight on your horse when you're riding them. So I dropped those over. I was initially just going to drop them round to his house, but when I messaged him when I was leaving, he said that he was at the yard, and if I wanted, I could come up and meet the horses. So, because I'm got a huge soft spot for animals, I was like, yes, I'm going to jump at the chance. So I went over and I met his two horses, Summer, who's the slightly older one, and Poppy, the white cob with the most amazing, incredible blue eyes. So I put up a few pictures that I took of them. They're really, really lovely animals, and Alex has obviously got a really good bond with them, because they do seem to want to work well with him. Although Poppy's a bit of a stroppy teenager, and she's kind of willful. But yeah, I'll put a little bit of a snippet of video of Alex riding on Summer and some photos of the horses. But yeah, lovely, lovely, beautiful animals. So, yeah, that's about it. And me waffling on for now. So, from me and from, if you can see him on the black background Thor, we'll see you in the next one.